Right, guys, welcome back to another above average FPL podcast / stream. Yesterday we had confirmation that Gameweek 22 will now be a double game week thanks to Man United and Leeds setting aside their respective teams. Blanks on the horizon though. How much do we want to commit in terms of transfers, hits, etc.? We're going to talk about all that. All the best options for the next couple of game weeks, and two of us have a certain chip that we can play, so we might be talking about that one today. Haaland did remind us, though, what he can do against Wolves, much to the despair of someone sitting below me, technically, or down there. And those that triple captained him in Game Week 20. But should we be waiting until Game Week 23, or should we be looking at Marcus Rashford in 22? Man's on good form at the moment. Leeds and Palace at home could be the ideal triple captain. As always, I'm here with Baker. How you doing, mate?
Very good, mate. Ready to go.
Good stuff. And to help us navigate this, we are welcoming back a man with 3 top 500 finishes, certainly knows how to work his way up the ranks at this part of the season and has smashed it since the restart. He joined us in pre-season. He did say then that we're one of his favourite podcasts, so we had to invite him back on. Mark McGettigan, the FPL General. How you doing, Mark?
Good to be back, lads. You need to remind me during this if I nod off, just remind me I'm streaming with you guys because I'm so used to watching and listening on a Sunday evening. So I need to remember to actually reply when you ask me stuff. So yeah, always, it's always that bit of a. I always feel it's a bit of a downer when the last game on a Sunday finishes, but I know you boys are coming up at 8:30, which is always nice. So yeah, good to be back, and it's good to be doing well at FPL again because the first half of the season was a bit of a nightmare. So it's nice to be on an upward trajectory now.
You're a bit delicate, aren't you, today?
Yeah, big. Yeah, like I was saying before we started, big night last night. So hopefully I can get through this.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. As you say, you've had a good start since the restart. 391 points, I think someone had tweeted out from the great and good. I'm just behind you on 388. I'm not sure, Baker. I don't know.
Not as many as that, mate.
Not as many as that.
Not as many as I think about 340, something like that, maybe. But you're only 3 points behind, but triple captain chip in hand.
That is true. Yes.
Moral high ground.
I'm taking it. As opposed to just the literal high ground on the video. Like
yeah.
I'm not
Absolutely.
How has your weekend been? Good? That's you, Baker.
I mean, it's a long time, isn't it? Like, obviously wasn't particularly good. Doherty's now dead, so we won't have to worry about pronouncing his name every week now or that because he's just become a non-event. And then hopefully we sign Porro, and then it's very much a non-event. So him not turning up, and then Kane. If Kane scored that header, then we all would have had a good time.
Yeah, true.
Hey ho, we move on.
Yeah,
feels
indeed.
like ages.
I don't even know when the deadline is now. Is it Friday or Saturday?
Friday.
Friday?
I think it's a Friday.
Okay.
It is Friday. God.
And
good start, boys.
Watching the FA Cup this weekend? I watched a bit. of the Wrexham game, especially.
Yeah,
that was good. I enjoyed the documentary. So it was pretty. I thought it was pretty cool seeing Ryan Reynolds getting the interview beforehand with Gary Lineker and Shearer and all that. They were all in awe, which you don't often see. So it was. I could have listened to him all day. He speaks really well.
Good stuff.
You take anything from the Arsenal lineup, the Arsenal City game?
Not really for me. Nah, I think I always expected a few changes at least with that cup game. So yeah, I don't think too much has changed FPL wise for those picks. So Trossard slightly concerns me as a Martinelli owner, which I'm sure we'll get to later. But overall, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I say I expected a couple of changes. Maybe I expected him to go a little bit stronger, but now it's just like full focus on the league, most likely. I mean, how serious do you think they're going to take the Europa League if they're going to be fighting at the top of the league, top of the Premier League?
Oh man, they're all right now. They're all in on the Premier League, mate.
Yeah,
they're all in. I thought it was a bit weak. I'm going to say, we've been very nice about Arsenal, but feel like second the team line that's come out, Pep's gone big. Arteta, I felt like it was very protective of, hey, if we lose, we should lose, and if we don't lose, then it's he made it like it was a no lose game for them by changing the team for them, whereas Pep didn't. I think Pep's a momentum man. If you give him the chance, I don't think it necessarily plays into their hands. It makes the next week even bigger for me. But proof be in the pudding once they get through the next 2 game weeks.
Yeah. So we're going to start with. Are we going to start with triple captain?
Got to. We put it on the thumbnail, mate. Go for it.
Yeah. Cool. So in terms of triple captain, there's only really 2 options I think people are looking at now. All the chip strategies are starting to come out for dead ends in 28, wild cards in 29, free hits in 29, wild cards in 30. There's a lot more clarity on what the biggest blank is going to look like in terms of 28, and those doubles are going to start to take shape. I think we'll get more information tomorrow when we get the FA Cup draw. That would be good. Which I'm a bit disappointed it's not on tonight, but yeah, we'll get some more. Weird
waste of time.
But, yeah, we'll get it tomorrow, and yeah, we'll go from there because there's all sorts of fixtures that could drop in here and there. There's little rumours about other ones as well. So
yeah,
I think this is going to be the time for anyone who hasn't used it so far. And to be fair, not loads and loads of people have used it. Really,
I think enough have used it. Like take top 10k, there's a fair amount that used it. I think what we both know, these 2 guys on screen, Rashford and Haaland, like you're going to want them to blank in the double, in both of these respective doubles. If you haven't triple captain them, they're going to both be over 200% owned.
Yeah, I can't see a way. I can't see a way they're not, especially seeing as everybody owns both of them. Because because people know that they're going to be captaining Rashford to protect. I mean, Mark, you're captaining Rashford this week.
Yeah, as soon as the last game week ended, you log in, you set your boss team, and just didn't even think about it. Just captain Rashford, and I really don't see myself moving off that. Even if I did end up bringing in Bruno Fernandes, for me, I don't think there's much of a contest for the captaincy. So yeah, I'll be on Rashford, and I know a lot of people obviously end up on triple captain. So it's almost kind of just to protect yourself a little bit as well against those triple captainers. So yeah, I don't see myself moving the armband between now and Friday.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms of how they have matched up against each other, well, in terms of their own personal XGI and the post-World Cup team data, basically. So in terms of, for those that are listening, we've got a table showing that Rashford has half an expected goal involvement per game, and currently has outperformed by 0.1. And at home, that's 0.6, but has outperformed by 0.4. So he's getting on average essentially 1 goal involvement per home game on average. Haaland has a home and away game in game week 23. His expected data tells him you're going to get 1 goal involvement. He's actually been involved in 1.5 per game. At home, that is it's ridiculous. Like 1.1 is his expected data, 1.9 is his actual data, which is nuts. And away from home, he's basically one return a game at 0.9. So basically, they're both pretty good.
That Villa game. Oh, he just reminds you when he scores hat-trick. We won 4 hat-tricks now.
Yeah, 4 hat-tricks.
4 hat-tricks.
I think it's 17 hat-tricks in his career so far.
Christ. That's just insane. And it's it's just minutes, big chances. It's all big chances, though. He has to have big chances to score goals, and he just seems to just continually get them. Which is...
Can I ask a question, Mark? You not got it. No, you could be steering people in different ways by saying this, but if you had it again, where would you go?
Yeah, I hadn't given it any thought really until the last half an hour, because I knew you were going to ask me something along those lines. And I just keep coming back to Haaland. I think just how incredible he is, that he can bang in a hat-trick in any given game, let alone 2 games. Rashford, as a United fan, it's been amazing to see him back to not just his best, possibly better than he's ever been last, 10, 11 games or whatever it is. So I can see obviously huge attraction to triple captain Rashford this game week as well, especially fixtures, and fixtures always play a big part for me. So, but yeah, I think if I had it again, I would find it hard not to go Haaland again, even though he disappointed. That's just FPL. That's football. You know what happens. You can triple captain sometimes, and it doesn't work out. And it wouldn't stop me from doing it again. You know, let's say we had 2 triple captain chips, I would probably just go again on Haaland in 23. So I'd probably just regular captain Rashford this week, and save it for the big man in Gameweek 23. Yeah, I do find it very hard to go against him when he's got 2 games.
Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I look at that Arsenal game, and that Arsenal game being away just makes me feel like that's a 2-pointer. It just makes me feel like that's a 2-pointer. They're not giving up many chances, Arsenal, at all. And I mean even
they did concede 2 against United, and they did give, despite the fact that they massively dominated the game, really effectively, especially that last half hour, they still gave away 2 goals against Man United. They are giving away goals still. Nobody's. It's not like they're infallible type things, but it's also City have to win that game. Like it's there's a lot for me that says Haaland, but
I just can't. I can't look past Crystal Palace and Leeds.
Yeah,
like, it's just,
and that's it.
They're just so weak defensively, or like Palace are weak defensively, particularly away from home, and Leeds United will be carnage. It'll be chaos, but it won't be quite as mad as it will be away from home, which they've got in 23. So I think it's a game that they can dominate, and I think it's a game where there's going to be space for Rashford to make runs in behind. There's going to be a lot of gaps there.
Yeah,
I think he's.
What I'm saying there is, I don't think anyone trying to pick holes in Haaland is going down the right path. We'll see a lot of people trying to work that way, but there's no holes there. Like it's rock solid. But Rashford in 2 home games is rock solid as well. If you think about just the fact of extra point for a goal, like, do you back him to get at least 1 clean sheet? I know it's little points, but it's still points. Like, if you had to say he plays more than 60 minutes twice, yes. He gets at least 1 clean sheet, yes. So he's got 5 points in it. Do you think he'll get at least 1 goal? Yes. You're probably thinking like minimum. I mean, you did that poll, didn't you? And it was what, 12 to 13 or something points people thought they would get.
10 to 14 points was like the expectation, or 10 to 11 to 14 points, 15 points. Yeah.
And I do think that for him. I really do. I can't see anything else for him than around 15 points.
Then it's I mean, to be fair, like Villa's a game where Haaland could score that in just that game as well.
And I can't stop thinking that.
Yeah. And you're right. Maybe I hadn't put not enough weight on the fact that that Arsenal game is a must-win. It's a 6-pointer for them as a game, and they rely on Haaland to score goals.
Yep. But talking myself back out of it, he has got the 2 points. He did only get a 2-pointer away at Man United. So who's to say he didn't score Friday night. He didn't score at Chelsea. He didn't score at Liverpool. Haaland didn't score at Liverpool, didn't score at Chelsea, didn't score at United. But he might score 20 points against Villa.
Yeah.
But he might also come off after 60 minutes if they're 3-0 up.
After his hat-trick.
After his hat-trick.
That's a problem.
It's tough, isn't it? It's tough.
So let me ask you. Let me ask both of you: if the deadline was in 10 minutes' time, are you triple captain in Rashford?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah. If it was in 10 minutes' time, I reckon I would.
Adam?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Adam's always been more pro it than me.
Yeah.
I think is in that sense. I think it's been. I think I swayed a long way to it, and then I kind of had that bit of, hold on, we've got the best asset there's ever been. Just I was listening to an Athletic. Do you know the Athletic, Mark? Have you heard of them?
Yeah, heard of those guys. Yeah, they're pretty good.
I was listening to a pod they did on that, and they were talking about, something like 12 out of. He's now scored more goals than 12 of the last 30 top scorers in the league, and we're January. It's it's genuinely insane, where we're up to. Where could it get to? It's special, and if there's someone that you think could, if you're thinking of where does this go to, if there's someone that could score like 7 goals in a double game week, it's Erling Haaland.
Yeah. So I've just put a poll out in the live chat. So it just says, who would you triple captain, Rashford or Haaland? So if you're in the live chat this evening, make yourself known, choose your triple captain, and read out the results in about 10 minutes.
There you go.
Okay. So for the bottom of that graph, for anyone that's wondering, it should be quite clear. It's the team XG since the World Cup. So obviously City have had a better XG than United per 90 at 2.3 versus 1.8. And the opponent one is Palace for Rashford. Their XGC per game is 1.6 and Villa's 1.5. Leeds is 1.9 and Arsenal is 1. So just to clear up the rest of that table. And that,
home to Leeds sounds a lot better fixture, doesn't it, than away
to Arsenal. And even Palace at home sounds better than Villa at home under Emery.
Yeah. Zaha's done in, I think, 6 weeks or so. So without their talisman.
Just one more thing on Rashford as well. Are you both confident that he takes the next penalty?
I think he will. I think he's just so on it. I just can't see anyone else stepping up to it.
I think so too. It would have been nice for those triple captainers to have that confirmation beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm sure he did this in the Discord. FPL California has dropped us a super chat. Thank you very much to you, mate. Also one of our patrons. He says Palace has only conceded 11 goals away and 16 at home.
Mate, there's so many narratives going to hit us in this next week because it's going to be big, isn't it? It's just, brilliant. It's easy to say, isn't it? Oh, Marsh's teams play better against bigger teams, so we'll talk ourselves out of it that way.
Yeah.
Fact is, the beauty of it is we are going to want one to do badly, and we are going to want one to do well, and they're both going to be over 200% owned. And pick one and go with it. I definitely wouldn't go against anybody that still holds their triple captaincy chip past 23. Stupid, really. I think you just got to go.
Yeah, fair enough. So we're relatively undecided, but I think we both, if we say gun to our heads right now, we'd probably both go Rashford. But
yeah,
there's days to figure it out. United have still got to play another game. Whether we see Rashford in that game, I don't know. I think. Would that change things if he doesn't turn out on in that second leg?
Oh, he won't turn out. No chance he turns out.
Garnacho and Weghorst.
No chance he turns out. No chance. It's fine. Would a Salah double change your mind at all?
Who's that?
Have you heard of him? This guy plays right wing for Liverpool.
Haven't seen him for a while. He's been missing.
I mean, he really has been missing. I've
got this. I don't know whether. I mean, you guys probably can't see it. The guys on the stream probably can, but it's probably a bit difficult for you guys. But Salah comes top of only 3 metrics this season versus Rashford and Haaland, and that is on XA. Basically, it's just on XA. Like his minutes per XG is 230, basically, compared to Rashford 148 and Haaland 87. He's just not involved.
Post restart, isn't it? Post restart. This is.
Oh, is it all post restart?
Yeah,
you gave me the chart. You needed to tell me that.
Yeah, I should have told you that. I'm pretty sure.
XGI 2.65 since the restart. Haaland at 6.1 and Rashford at basically 4.
When you keep seeing this, like 86 minutes per XG for Haaland, mate, it just. And you just see what he does, like 100 minutes per XA. Like he's just standing in the box saying, "Feed me." It's just. I'm really conflicted. I am really conflicted on it. But I just think use it. I don't care about what other doubles drop in later on. We'll have other chips, we'll have other fires, we'll have other stuff to work with. These two assets, Haaland and Rashford, are just on it. Get them done.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. So we've got game week 22 basically sorted. Game week 23, we've obviously got City and Arsenal. Just
we haven't not sorted in 22, mate. We've got a whole transfers and what we're going to do and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I know, but what I mean is like we're using. You're not using 20. Well, yeah, but triple captain we're done. But are you not using 23 as like the guide for transfers you're looking to make in 22? Unless you're obviously talking about. You want to talk about Bruno, because I thought we were going to wait until Wednesday for that one.
Well, we will talk about it Wednesday, but Mark hasn't got Bruno. I haven't got Bruno. You haven't got Bruno.
Correct. Do you want to look at where we stand at the moment?
Could you? You're a much more seasoned, legendary manager in this world than us. Can you go into a double for Bruno without Bruno and being a Man United fan?
I don't think I can, and I think that even would have been the case, even if he didn't have those, decent attacking returns over the last 4 or 5 weeks. Even if he only had 1 or 2 attacking returns, I still think I'd be looking to try and get there, and I think I will end up there. I've just got Rashford and Shaw at the moment, so I've got a spot for him. I've got 2 free transfers, and I've kind of been sitting on something. I've been sitting on a possible double move that I was close to making over the weekend. So it would be something like Almiron and Martinelli out is my easiest way to get Bruno in, and it would be along with Leon Bailey, and I've got exactly 0.0 to do it. So if Almiron drops again, which he will soon, I won't be able to make that double move. So I've kind of been torn on it, and I'm probably going to wait, which I usually do. So if I want to get Bruno, it's going to get more complicated, and it might be a De Bruyne to Bruno and back, which I don't really like doing, because when I brought De Bruyne in, I thought that's him in place now for 23. I don't want to start messing about using 2 free transfers on him when he's already there. So yeah, I do my without overthinking things. I just want to have Bruno for the 2 games, especially when the fixtures are so good. And then the other thing I like about bringing him in is I've also only got 2 City players, so he's a placeholder for a possible gamble on someone like Mahrez the following game week. So that's where my thoughts are.
So Bruno, would you see him? So let's take a couple of things that unpack there.
There's a lot going on there.
Yeah, KDB to Bruno, which a lot of people are thinking about. If you've got 2 free transfers, I see it. If you've only got 1 free transfer, would you do it?
Yeah, probably more likely, because that lack of flexibility, and I think it's fine to lose De Bruyne for 1 game week, especially when it's Spurs. But again, it's something I always try and treat transfers very preciously, and 2 free transfers to get rid of De Bruyne to get him back when I know I'll want to do other things is why I'm just going to keep De Bruyne and just try and look at transfers elsewhere. Even looking 1 game week ahead as well, rather than just 22. 1 eye in 23. I'm not against kind of shaking up my Arsenal trio as well with 23 in mind, and I don't want to get blinded too much by Leeds and Manchester United assets, because there's a lot going on the next few game weeks. So yeah, but I do want to own Bruno.
I mean, I can't get to him, so it's not even a conversation really for me, because I am currently sitting on 1 Arsenal player leading into 23. They've got no blanks, 25, 28, none of all that. And they've got a ridiculous fixture run. And I've already got triple United. So I've got Rashford, I've got De Gea, and I've got Shaw. So for me, I would have to lose probably De Gea, make another keeper transfer, which is just not happening. So yeah, I'm going into another double game week without Bruno. There's only so many times you can get beaten up by 19 pointers. It's really, really hard. I mean, it's like this year, obviously Mahrez did it, and then last year in game week 23, wasn't it last year? I think Bruno got a 19 pointer.
He just loves double game week. I was just looking at that. I think you've got game week 23, me and you the wrong way around there, mate. I was like, oh, you've got White. When did you bring him in? But I think you've got me and you round the other way.
Is that the wrong way around?
Yeah, you've got yourself as having Martinelli and White in.
I don't know why 23. That is. I definitely don't have that.
You definitely don't have that.
Just wish you did.
I do, yeah, a little bit.
Well, I'm not sure you do though, because both me and you, Mark, own Martinelli and White, and I'm not
injured?
Convinced I want either of them.
Now, if you give me a clean slate now to pick 3 new Arsenal players, I don't think those 2 would be there. Odegaard would definitely be there. Nketiah's numbers have been incredible. And Saka's been amazing for me, so he's obviously going nowhere. So, yeah, with 2 free transfers, I could end up losing Martinelli. I could end up losing White. Anything could happen with those Arsenal players this game week.
Mm.
Yeah, our midfields are the wrong way around.
Yeah, it is a weird world, isn't it? Because there are quite a few people that haven't got the triple Arsenal that you and me, Mark, have. So Adam, for example, hasn't, and I feel a little bit jealous of them, because if I was starting again, it'd be like, right, well, I'd just get Saka, I'd just get Nketiah. That'd be the way I'd focus my transfers. And I'm like, is that FOMO? Like, is it not just still that White's a really good asset at 4.5 million and that's it? And how much do I want to just break my whole team up when one of the games is City anyway? I almost feel like if you want to break your team up for Arsenal, you got to do it this weekend and go for the Everton game. I feel like you kind of losing a bit if you don't go now on the players you want for Arsenal.
Yeah, I think there's enough there to worry me with White, with Tomiyasu. You can, White's very much first choice, but there's always the option. And then I just don't like the Trossards there now as well for Martinelli. We seen him substituted. I know it was 80th minute, but Trossard is a cracking player, and he's could very easily force his way in there over the next couple of game weeks. And it seems that it's going to be the Martinelli position that they may have to share the game time. So yeah, I would love to. That's the other thing. If I got Bruno in this week, I said I could gamble on an Arsenal. I gamble on a City asset, and then selling Bruno for 23. But if I lose Martinelli as part of the move this week, I would just get Odegaard probably for Bruno for the Arsenal double and just be done with it, and then he's in for the season. So that's part of the thinking as well. And like you say, I think especially those who are on 2 free transfers this week, it feels like if you want to restructure your Arsenal picks, this feels like a good time to do so.
Yeah, I can't get to, I really can't get to Saka unless I do something drastic in my forward line. And that involves me losing Tony in a week where he's got Southampton at home, which feels completely stupid at the same time. Because it would have to be for a hit to do it. It just doesn't make any sense. I think I'd rather, I don't know, could I even go to Martinelli? Like, that sounds crazy.
Well.
But like, a lot of people are thinking of moving off him to go to get Saka and Odegaard. But is that crazy to do so? I look at my team and and the player in my team that I like the least, ridiculously, is Kevin De Bruyne.
Yes.
How stupid is that?
I am firmly in that camp.
How stupid is that? I look at this midfield of Odegaard, Mitoma, De Bruyne, Rashford, and Andreas, who I can take to pretty much anyone pretty much anyone half decent. And I'm fine moving Andreas on, that's no problem. But De Bruyne is just sticking there like, I just don't want him. I just don't want him. But this double is just, I've got to have him. I've got to have a City asset, and I don't want to waste a transfer on moving something around when I've got, as you can see, like 5 players flying into a blank, of which I don't fancy free hitting, really.
You're in a good position, mate. I like the thing with the Bruno thing. You've got to high up. I would be focusing firmly on Arsenal. That's it.
Yeah,
I do think there is that thing on Martinelli. Should we get into Arsenal, boys? Should we
do it?
Let's get into Arsenal.
Oh, because you didn't even give me the finally numbers. Hold on. Amazing.
No, I did. Yeah, I did. You should. You got the second one?
No, I don't have the second one because it's mixed with KDB and whatever else.
Oh yeah.
Okay, talk about these 3, and I'll get Martinelli on the screen. How's that?
Yeah. So I think, look, if you haven't maxed out, the players you want are Saka, the players you want is Odegaard, the players you want Nketiah. And if I don't look at anything and I close my eyes and I say, which is the Arsenal player I want first, in my head, it's Saka. But that's the one, if I close my eyes and go, which one do I want? It's Saka. But interestingly, I was looking at the 3 that people are, most looking at, which is the non-Martinelli options. and checking out stats post restart, and like Saka wins none of the stats. All the creative ones obviously you get are being hogged by Odegaard. All of the goal scoring ones are being hogged by Nketiah. Like, if anything that you expect to see on the the old FPL notification, it's goal Nketiah, assist Odegaard. That's how it feels it should work. But something about Saka that just feels always special, that you feel like he's the one that should do the business. Where are you thinking?
Just an incredible player, Saka. He just gets better. Every time you see him, he just gets better and better. So yeah, like I said, if I had a clean slate, I would love to be on the triple attack. Odegaard, Saka, and Nketiah. I think it kind of goes back to kind of previous season biases on Nketiah. I wasn't overly keen on going there for the restart. But last week, given we've had a bit of a break, I was able to kind of deep dive into some of the numbers more so than I usually would. And Nketiah, showed up big time. And, when you factor in his price, you factor in Jesus is probably going to be quite a while yet. You'll get a fair whack of game weeks out of Nketiah before you see Gabriel Jesus again. You don't need to worry about him coming back until, it's not a problem until it is a problem. Just get Nketiah while he's playing. And when you've got the likes of Saka and Odegaard and even players like Xhaka now, creating chances, I just expect Nketiah to keep it up. And again, there's so many routes I could go this week with two frees. Another route would be either lose White or Martinelli and upgrade my striker Greenwood to Nketiah. And it'd be kind of a switched back, I'm 3-5-2, switch back to 3-4-3, just bench Almiron possibly for the short term and maybe turn Almiron into a Leon Bailey in the future. It's the curse of having two frees again this week, because there's probably 10 very good routes I could go, and it's going to be quite hard to come to a final decision on that.
I definitely would be so overthinking with two frees, but I'm very jealous of it because I expect I will take a hit. I don't expect I'll just go KDB to Bruno and then back again next week. I just think there's so much more to muck around with.
It's funny where you mentioned jealousy. We're always jealous of something. You're jealous of my two frees, but I'm jealous of Adam having Matoma last week because I was close to going Almiron to Matoma. Give me those 10 points and give me one free transfer this week. I would prefer to have the points on the board now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I wish I had an extra. I wish I had the money to get a Saka somehow.
We're never happy,
we
are we?
can't help ourselves, can we?
We're
not happy. Because you look at, I think you've got the stats on there, look at Martinelli's stats now. Stats are still good. It's just because we have a couple of blanks, we're like, that's it. It's finished.
But it's also Trossard as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely also Trossard.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But we also know that Arteta's really stubborn. In a good way, really stubborn. He's very thorough, very stubborn. The last thing anyone wants to do when they're winning the league is do anything to upset the fact they're winning the league. Trossard expects to have to come in and try and win that place.
Yes.
If he comes in and just puts Trossard in and Martinelli loses his shit, that's a big thing when he's done so much to get him into that place where he's at. I do not see it that Trossard. I think Trossard takes minutes. I don't think Trossard takes starts right now.
Yeah, I totally agree there. But that's the frustrating thing. If Martinelli's going to become a 70-minute Martinelli, those 20 minutes are huge. So that's where I would love to have. It's not just Trossard, it's Nketiah. It's how good he is and how affordable he is as well. There's a lot of factors here. I think if we were going to get a 90-minute Martinelli, we wouldn't be probably having the conversation as much.
But we've seen before at the start of the season, when it was like Smith Rowe, Martinelli, where are we going, and all those type of things. Competition can be good. Yeah, as I talked about yesterday, we signed Dan Juma, who can play that left side, and we all want Son to have a rest. Son plays his best game he's played for us since the Leicester game. There is in football the world of if I'm Martinelli right now. He's not an idiot. He isn't like we're just going, oh, he's going to play. He's looking at that and going, he's a threat. He's a threat.
I think something we need to be careful of as well. A lot of us are just thinking, right, Trossard's going to eat into Martinelli's minutes. But I think if you're watching the next Arsenal game and it gets to 70 minutes and the board goes up, Trossard's coming on, none of us would be overly surprised if he takes Nketiah off and he throws Martinelli up front, or even Trossard. He's played there before, so we don't know what Arteta's thinking with these guys, those three in particular. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out over the next couple of games.
I mean, if they're not winning, he'll take Zinchenko off and put Nketiah put Trossard there. Like, he can play anywhere. He'll play. If they're not winning, he'll take Xhaka off and put Trossard on there. They know they can't do draws. They've got to just keep winning. So chances are the only time Martinelli's coming off, they're winning, and it's just whether he's involved or not. But he's still having the touches. You should earlier the Fantasypedia stuff, didn't you? That said touches and I think post restart he's had the most touches of any player in the Premier League in the penalty box.
Yeah, it looks like 11 or 10 and a half.
Mad.
Yeah.
I'm in a similar position to you, Mark, where I could my easiest route to Bruno with keeping De Bruyne is I could go Martinelli to Bruno and I could go Mitrovic to Nonto. Change to 3-5-2, open the door to bringing in Saka maybe for Bruno after that, or something else, where I want to go with it. But yeah, that is somewhere where I could go with it. But Martinelli's going to hurt someone at some point.
Yeah, we looked at the attacking sequence stuff last week as well, and he was basically top of that as well. From I think it's as I've got here, four shots, 3 chances created, and 5 build-ups as well. So he's just involved in all facets as well. It's not like he's like a one-trick pony or like a one-dimensional player in the sense that Nketiah is in terms of he's the guy that's there to score the goals. He's not there to do the other stuff, but he's just all around involved.
Yeah. So I think if you haven't got him, I don't think I would. Martinelli feels a trap to go into. It's whether he's enough of a trap to come off of, and it's a big call. It's a big call. But the others, just get them. Look at them.
Yeah.
Look at them. And you showed me the fixtures earlier for post this, and I was like, Christ.
You want to see the fixtures?
Let's get the fixtures.
So up on the screen, fixtures for the next 7 game weeks. The fixture difficulty was something that I plucked out of thin air, which was, if you disagree with them, I don't care. It's fine. And the game week 25 and game week 28, the squares around the boxes of Newcastle versus Brighton and Man U versus Brentford. And in 28, Man City versus West Ham and Man U versus Brighton, because we're still uncertain as to whether they're going to be games in the game weeks. They could be blanks. But Arsenal have Everton away, then hit a double, which is 2 home games. And then they go Villa away, Leicester away, Bournemouth at home, Fulham away, and Crystal Palace at home. Perfect.
It's perfect, isn't it?
It's so good.
It's so good. Which that does lead me a bit to you get the ones that you're really comfortable with and go now. So if you are twitching on Martinelli, do what you need to do, but make sure you know it. Because would it surprise me if Martinelli turned up and scored 5 goals in those next 6 games? No, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if there's, looking at those fixtures as well, I wonder if there's anyone sitting watching this video or listening to it on the podcast. We just went on for ages talking about Haaland and Rashford as triple captaincy options. And is anyone sitting there thinking about an Arsenal triple captaincy on in that double game week 23? If they are the best team in the league and they've got some of the best FPL assets, why are the likes of Saka and Odegaard not getting more, triple captaincy talk? But again, it is hard to go against Haaland and Rashford at the moment. But I'm sure there's some people out there that might be half thinking about a Arsenal triple captaincy.
I think that may be something that in game week 22 maybe takes a little bit of shine off Rashford. Perhaps is the fact that Bruno's now picked up and he started to get some points, but Haaland is this big talismanic, it's like when we used to talk about Tottenham last year and the year before. Like you just know where the points are. If you know where the points are, that's where you want to place your triple captain. Like Liverpool, Salah, great. Tottenham, Kane, great. City, Haaland, great. United, Rashford, Bruno, Casemiro, no. Luke Shaw. I mean, Arsenal, you can pick any one of 4 right now. And I think that would probably sway me away from it. if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I think you've nailed it there with that. It's the spread of points. It could be Granit Xhaka who gets the 19 pointer. It's very hard to pinpoint in one game week which of those, because they've got 4, 5, 6 really good attacking assets. It's hard to nail it down.
Yeah, I think last season was a little bit different for some people who didn't triple captain Salah. I can't believe I'm mentioning it again, but City were the team for the last 2 seasons that were putting 5, 4, 5, 6 past teams. So when you have that kind of level of output, yeah, fine, you can cover a triple captaincy in a team like that because someone's getting double returns, and you're almost okay. But I don't think Arsenal are going to score 5. Will they score 5 in any of these? Well, no, in the double. Okay. Will they score 5 against Brentford and then maybe a couple against City?
They'll score enough, mate. They'll score plenty. That just getting double attack just feels... It just feels wrong not to have double attack on them. Just got to get it done.
I'm quite comfortable going from... I think if I don't make the move this week, like Tony to Nketiah looks really good next week. Like really
absolutely
easy. Because then that's just like set and forget until Jesus comes back, whenever that may be. 27, something like that. And then work it out from there. I don't know.
And we picked these 4 teams because basically everyone's got like at least 8 players. I'm not sure, Mark, how many you've got in this team, but I think I've got at least 8 in these ones between Newcastle, Man United, Man City, and Arsenal at the moment. And really just a huge amount of the team.
I think I've got 10.
Huge amount of the team. And why not? Because that's probably why you've done so well post restart. These are the teams that are doing really well for us. So Newcastle, you're thinking of coming off, Mickey?
Yeah. I've got Botman, Trippier, and Miggy. Didn't know Miggy at all first half of the season, which was a big part of why I struggled. And I was on triple Newcastle defence at the time, and I couldn't get to Miggy or Wilson, which was quite frustrating. And then, of course, when you do get Miggy, first game week was great. Enjoyed his goal, experienced what it felt like for everyone else for so long. And since then, he's just kind of dropped off a little bit. And I wasn't 100% set in getting him anyway for the restart. I did feel like it was an easy enough pick just, to see if he did continue. But now I think you can definitely come off after 3 blanks. And, in terms of the eye test, to me, it's not as good as it was beforehand. So, yeah, I think he'll definitely go with the 2 free transfers. It just depends on what route I go. And I was on triple Newcastle defence before it was cool, way back before the World Cup, and I might end up going back there. I would love to have Fabian Schär because his underlying numbers are so good. I think he leads defenders for goal attempts in the box and stuff like that. And I just feel like if you have Trippier, having Botman and Fabian Schär as well to get on the end of those deliveries, those guys should get between them a couple of more goals this season. And even Fabian Schär on open play, he's last couple of games he's been kind of playing through balls in open play into players in the box, Isaac and Wilson, takes the odd direct free kick. So yeah, Fabian Schär is a funny one because he kind of always has relatively low ownership, even though he's one of the biggest goal threats when it comes to defenders in the league, and he kind of always has been. So yeah, losing Miggy I was very close to losing Miggy for Matoma last week. Kind of wish I did that. But yeah, I think he probably will go this week, and then it opens the door for a possible Newcastle defensive triple up again because they're just so good. Even in these cup games, they're not conceding goals. Every time you look at your live score app, you don't really expect to see that Nick Pope has conceded a goal. So yeah, Miggy's going to go, I think.
Yeah, I mean, home to West Ham again this weekend. I am fearing the double owners. I am fearing it.
It looks nice next couple of weeks. Just having it for the next couple of weeks feels good.
Fantastic.
But it's almost certainly a blank in 25 to navigate. And whilst I'm sitting here with Bueno and Patterson, it's just like,
Yeah, but would anyone be surprised if a Schär or a Botman outscored Ben White in 23?
I don't think so.
No.
Because you could see, double game week, short turnaround. You could see effectively the easier game home to Brentford. Tomiyasu steps up and then he comes in for City. It's not going to be ideal. Definitely not. So I wouldn't put I wouldn't put anyone off. It's something I've considered as even with the double is maybe coming off White to free up an extra space and going triple attack, because you just look at the Arsenal attack and it's so good that you could easily go there. Like this week, if I ignored Bruno, for example, you could do Share. I like the idea of going Share over Botman.
Yeah. Then the other something similar as well. If I did decide to ignore Bruno, it's something like Ben White goes to possibly Alessandro Martinez or something like that, and then Greenwood goes up to Nketiah in 2 free transfers. It sounds pretty good as well. So there's lots. Yeah, like I said, it's going to be a long week trying to figure this all out.
Yeah, the Bruno poll. I'm actually a little bit jealous of Adam here with the De Gea keeper. Like it just keeps you rooted. You don't have to like keep mucking about with it.
I'm just trying not to. Yeah, I feel like this season I won't get tempted into something stupid, because last season I would have done like a -8 to flip it around. And got the 19 points, but still.
But now's the time. Like 2 double game weeks. Why not? And more to come. Like it could be a bit. How do you feel about the season this season? Do you think it hits a pain? Mark, you're quite conscientious, I'll say, as a manager.
Yeah, I've always been someone who doesn't take many hits at all, but I don't know, this season I feel like I've been more open to them, and I think the landscape has kind of been I think it's been easier to take them this season, especially when we get to this point and there is double game weeks. I'm always happy to just get the players I want. If I feel like they're very strong assets for a double game week, plus a couple of good fixtures to come afterwards, I'll happily just take the hit, -4, whatever it is, -8. I think I did take a -8 at one point, not too long ago. So yeah, for me, yeah, someone who doesn't take many hits. I think I've got to the stage of my FPL career now, whereas, and obviously it was easier early in the season as well when things are not going very well. It's easier to take a hit if you're ranked 1 million compared to top 50k. You can kind of play with the shackles off a little bit more, but just get the team as close as I want it to be as often as possible. It just makes it more enjoyable, even if it means a hit here and there. It's just, if there's a player that's annoying me, there's a player I really want, just make the move, even if it's a -4.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. Where we go next?
I'm not sure how much we have left, to be honest, other than questions. I think we've sort of flown through it. I'm looking at the fixtures and like where we stand. We've done all that. I mean,
Leeds. Should we just mention Leeds? Rodrigo.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Any of it tempt you?
No, not really. Nonto, as we said, from a structure change. If I were to do like Tony down to Nonto, I could get Andreas up to Saka, which feels all right. I mean, it feels quite good, but again, I'm taking 4 points plus Tony against Southampton and saying, is it worth it? Is the trade-off worth it?
Yeah.
To be fair, if you look at it over like a 5-6 week horizon, it probably is. But then I'm stuck with Nonto. And it's not the worst, but structurally I need then 5 midfielders. I have to have it.
I'm quite tempted by Nonto because I've got a weak bench as well. I think it's Patterson and it's Greenwood at Leeds. So I do kind of like the idea of turning Greenwood into Nonto, because it's not just for one game week. Great that he has a double, but your bench is stronger then as well. I know we don't need the benches too often this season, but it always just feels better and looks better if you've got 2 options on your bench rather than just one. I've kind of been having, a Ben White or a Botman or something like that on my bench, like a lot of people recently. So, but yeah, Rodrigo does interest me as well. I'm very interested in Rodrigo, but again, I just can't see myself getting a Leeds asset before I get a third Manchester United asset with the fixture. So do I use the 2 free transfers and get a United asset and a Leeds asset? Or is that too short-sighted and focusing too much on double game week 22 and not thinking more longer term? So people listening and watching, you can see how confused I am about what to do this week. And there's definitely a world where I could even just make one transfer this week out of decision paralysis, make one move, carry the other one and figure it out in 23. So it's
I think loads will. I think loads in your position will do KDB to Bruno, do nothing else, and get through to next week, because next week feels really important, more information, do all that stuff. And still have the 2, so I can move it back, and I feel like, okay, I'll just move that back, put KDB in, haven't got to worry about the blank for Bruno, and then go, okay, now I'll work it out. I think there'll be lots.
I think that's a mentality thing as well as FPL managers. When we say, right, I'm going to save a transfer, I like having 2 frees and another week of information, but then you almost feel like you need to use both. You've been patient, you've got your 2 frees now, but we need to remind ourselves, I could still have 2 frees next week and then have another week of information. So yeah, for me, I think I'm very keen to, when I've got 2 frees, more often than not, I will use them. Whereas maybe the play is just get Bruno possibly, and don't worry about Leeds, and then you've got 2 frees for City and Arsenal game week 23.
Definitely don't hate it, mate. I definitely don't hate it. We've got a blank in 25. We've got a blank in 28. And Nonto, who knows? Who knows? They've signed Weston McKennie. They've signed now. So we got Bamford was good. Sinistera scored, came back. So you've got Sinistera back. Somerville, I'm assuming, back by then. You've got Harrison, maybe. I saw a link that he might be off to Leicester, maybe trying to get rid of him, but you still got McKennie in, Aronson, Bamford, Rodrigo, Nonto. Like, there's a lot of players for those front 4 positions, but in a way, they should make them quite a fun team. If you get the right ones, they could be good. I'm not fully against Nonto, but I'd like to caveat the fact that I've only got 1 Newcastle and I've only got 2 United at the moment. So even if I go and bring in an extra, say I bring in Bruno, then I've still only got 4 at the moment for 25. And yeah, like you, I'm not against it, doing some hits here in these next few weeks to try and get the right players in. I think I'll have Bruno. Can't see me not having him.
I think that's where I'll end up as well. Somehow get Bruno, but I feel like if I go Nonto, it's very much great for the short term for the double. But then he'll probably be second sub most weeks for me. It's more of a just strengthen the bench there. And likewise, Rodrigo to me it's going to be short term. Get him for the double, probably straight back out again for someone else. So when it is short term, I'm not overly keen on doing it.
That's why I like the Tony to Nketiah for myself. Next week feels good.
And that's why I like the people who got Matoma last week, because you just did it, you got it done, and that you've got him now, and you've got great fixtures, and you don't need to worry about.
I've had him since the restart.
Leeds, guys.
I've had him since the restart. He's just been chilling in my team, doing shit, doing loads of stuff. It's been brilliant.
I didn't realize you had him since the restart. I hadn't seen you mention that anywhere.
Yeah, not mentioned it. Never mentioned it.
Like every week.
I mean, the player that he facilitated for you was Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Any consideration of moving off of Harry Kane?
No. Absolutely none. That's 0.
Because I've seen a few twitchy people on it because they're like,
fixtures are too
hey,
good.
KDB's got a double.
Yeah, but fixtures are too good.
Fixtures are too good.
Fine. Fixtures are too good, and it will still funnel through him. So, and I like having a Tottenham player in my team, and that's probably the last thing. That's probably the last thing that's enough for me to say, you know what, I'm happy to do it. And Leicester away, West Ham at home, Chelsea at home, Wolves away. Loves playing Leicester. Forest, Southampton, Everton. I mean, like, just good fixtures. If you want to talk about this when we play Newcastle, United, and then Liverpool in three consecutive games, fine.
Yeah, we
can have a discussion then. But with the fixtures in hand, even forgetting the doubles, Kane's fine. Yeah. Kane's locked in my team.
That's funny. Yeah, there's a lot.
Sorry to cut in. Just on Kane as well. I've only got him recently, but it's just the way the season's going. When budget's not an issue at all at the moment, it's just an easy hold, I think.
Yeah. Agreed. It feels. Yeah, love him, and hopefully Porro would have signed by come Tuesday, and then we actually have a right back that can cross. Imagine the world. And he can cross.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harry Kane.
So, does anybody have any other questions? We had a few on Discord. I'm just going to read a couple of them.
Why are you calling them out? A few people have said we haven't mentioned Weghorst at all.
Yes. Mark, do you want to...
I can't do it again. I can't do it again. Been there for Burnley. Have the t-shirt, have the scars.
Slightly better players around him.
Slightly, but he's still Weghorst.
Nah. I feel like just the mobility, I feel like it makes everyone else probably a better asset. One, and we'll cover this as we get closer. As I said, we've got a pod again on Wednesday, but around the Bruno thing is obviously Eriksen. We'll know a bit more about his injury, but if he's out, it means Bruno's taking more set pieces. But I still think also Bruno will be playing further up because they'll be like, oh, I could just stick Fred in midfield, or McTominay in midfield and just free him up. The whole thing just screams to me that the players you want are Rashford and Bruno.
Yeah, I think I would rather get a De Gea or a second defender before Weghorst. Some people might, if they're in a luxurious position, they might get Weghorst, take a punt on the double, and then jump to Nketiah the week after. But then I would be tempted just to get Nketiah for Everton. I would fancy Nketiah to score just as well in one game, with Weghorst having two. So yeah, it's not keen on Weghorst.
That's some big ones there. Andy Mack in the chat says about still worth getting Matoma this week. Matoma home to Bournemouth. Like,
it's definitely possible that I just get Matoma and don't worry about Leeds.
Yeah.
Or I probably will get Bruno, but I could get somehow Bruno and Matoma.
Only downside for Brighton this weekend is Caicedo obviously is probably not going to play. Although deadline closes Tuesday, by Saturday, maybe he will. And McAllister's suspended. So currently as it stands, they've got no centre midfield.
Yeah, big issue.
It's still home to Bournemouth. I still expect them to dominate.
So a couple of questions from the Discord, just general ones really. So Walker asks, has the game got too template given some of the ownership percentage numbers? What do you think, Mark?
I'm going to say no, because I came into the restart ranked 1.1 million and I didn't overthink it whatsoever. I went for a very template team. Not that I picked players because they had high ownership or anything like that. I just picked the best players, best prices, all that kind of stuff from the best teams. And even having a team that's 9-10 players, the same as everyone else's, I've managed to rise 750k in 5 weeks. So I think people obsess over the template. They worry too much about ownership. You just keep it simple. Get the players who you think get the points, and it doesn't matter if a lot of other teams have them. You'll still rise. And I think it's been an eye opener for me. I think this season, myself and yourself, Adam, the last few weeks, it kind of reminds you that you always get questions from people. I'm down the rankings. Should I pick differentials to make up ground? But one or two, yeah, fine. Players like Matoma getting on them early, but get the good picks. That's where the green arrows are going to come from.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, for me as well, like for me, normally I'm pretty cavalier, but my team isn't exactly wildly out there. I've got Trippier, I've got Shaw, I've got Kepa, I've got De Bruyne, I've got Rashford, I've got Ødegaard, I've got Haaland. Like 7 players are locked in there, pretty solid. I have got, as I say, I've got that extra Newcastle defender, Matoma and Tony. Those are the 3 plus Kane. If you want to call Kane a differential, which he's not really, because he's about 70% owned now in the top 10k. Yeah. So, it's not. I haven't actually gone too wild. Like the captaincy last week was a bit mental, but it was fun.
You'd actually have more points if you gone less wild. So if you'd have played Kepa instead of De Gea in whatever that game was, you'd have had more points.
Yeah.
If you'd have played Captain Haaland, so template's working.
Like if I'd have gone, I don't know, anyone, Saka instead of Zaha, or even Ødegaard, or even it doesn't really matter. Even Almiron ahead of Zaha would have been exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like
the way I think of the template this season as well is because more teams than ever are similar. If you have a Matoma 10-pointer versus an Almiron 3-pointer, those 7 points are huge this season. Those 7 points in previous seasons wouldn't move you very far at all. But just having Kepa and Saka, for example, against those who don't, if you get 20 points from those two combined in a week, it's a huge rise. So, differentials are more powerful than they've ever been, which means you actually don't need as many of them. You just need to, if you can get the right 1 or 2 in any given game week, you can have a huge rise.
That's a really good way of looking at it.
Absolutely.
So Hobo in our chat, he says, how many hits do you average on a season, Mark? Normally, I know you're
In a
saying
normal
that you're more open to them this season.
Yeah. It's always a case of, if you look back on all my seasons, it's always around the blanks and doubles where most of the hits happen. You know, it's that whole thing. Hits are more of a -2 if you're selling a player who doesn't have a fixture, blah, 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 whatever. And obviously easier to take a -4 for a player who has a double and maybe some good fixtures to come as well if you're selling a single game week asset. So I think over the course of a season, you're probably talking -20, -24 probably on average. But there's definitely been seasons where it's been maybe even -12, -16 over the whole season. I think some of the seasons where I didn't do so well, there was definitely a correlation between I took more hits in those seasons, and it was probably just chasing and stuff and being on tilt or whatever and playing suboptimally. But yeah, it's probably -20, -24 over the season. There's a couple of seasons where I kind of make a set of notes before the season starts, and usually one of them is aim for a maximum of -20 over the season, but I don't really include blank game weeks and double game weeks in that figure. So I've always thought if you fix your weakest link often, you shouldn't have to take too many hits. And we know how hard it is to get points in FPL. Take a -4, you're getting rid of a goal that one of your players has got for you in the recent game weeks. So I'll try to think like that. And I'm always reluctant to give points back because they're very hard to get.
Cool. There's some game week specific ones here. So the best 3 City assets for the double game week. For the double, because I'm 20 for 23. Haaland.
Haaland, Mahrez, and KDB are the best probably 3 assets for them, and then hoping that a defensive asset, you've got an opportunity by the time he comes around to it. So if Stones was easily the best defensive asset for them, but if Stones can't stay fit, which he doesn't like to stay fit, it's probably Aki at the moment. Aki or Kanji are probably the two best defensive options for him, despite the fact that Diaz and Laporte are fit.
Yeah.
Aki would be.
I think if I had a clean slate, it would be Haaland, De Bruyne, and probably throw Ederson in. But that's, again, I wouldn't be making it. I don't think I'd be making a transfer to go to Ederson from a cheap Kepa, or if you've already got De Gea the week before or whatever. Not too keen on goalkeeper transfers. Probably just wait until second wildcard for that. But yeah, I think it's similar to Arsenal at the moment. I quite like the triple City attack.
So
I think it's mad to go off Kepa. Like, anyone who's got Kepa at the moment, they're looking at Ederson or looking at anybody else in that. Like, the transfers they've made are really, really good. Sounds like tonight Enzo might happen before Tuesday. If they get a centre midfielder, you've got James and Chilwell back in training. You've got Badiashile, looks great. As come in. Mudryk looks great. Like, they could have we're going to be talking about Chelsea, but that game week 24, Southampton, we will be talking about Chelsea and bringing Chelsea players in. No doubt.
Yeah. Reece James back in training.
Absolutely no doubt. They'll stand out. This weekend against Fulham, they'll be good. They're going to be good. I'm really confident.
They're on trial, aren't they, at the moment? It's almost like these next couple of weeks, they're on trial. Because I'm still comfortable just ignoring them. And the doubles give us a nice little shield against that, just to say, you know what, we don't have to jump there. We've got things that we need to do beforehand, and then we'll see what happens.
100%. Don't need to go near them for the next 2 weeks. Don't even think about them before then, but we will be talking about them, and they'll be better. I don't think they're going to be worse. And Kepa's been doing really well, and I don't see him doing worse.
One more from our Discord. I keep hearing wild card. I almost said World Cup. I keep hearing wild card pre-game week 28 is not needed. Be that as it may, it's more about opportunity than necessity. If you can set up your team right for 25, 28, and 29, and wild card early, wouldn't that be differential and help you get ahead? I haven't looked at that in enough detail to try and build a team that would work through those blanks, especially when we don't know what the blanks will be, particularly in 28. I think that's the probably missing piece. 25, we can almost say what's going to happen now, I think, but 28, yeah, there's still some uncertainty there.
Yeah, I haven't really looked ahead at all too much. I've got one eye on 25. The teams might blank and stuff like that, but I'm just waiting until it shakes itself out. I don't think it's worth spending too much time yet on wildcard thoughts and stuff like that.
I think you and me probably both are in a position where we've started so well from the restart. Normally, wildcards, you either really well plan it, or your whole team goes to shit. And the second one definitely has not happened, and we've got other stuff that we're planning for. So I think, back of mind at the moment, and worry about it when it becomes a necessity. And I know that's what FPL California was saying about maybe as an opportunity, which it could be. I mean, of course, if you've got a second set of unlimited transfers, then you should be able to do something with it. But it may hinder you a few weeks down the line. We don't know.
I watched our friend FPL Harry did a wildcard video earlier in the week. And I looked at it, and the first comment was, look how template that is. Like, someone was whinging about how template it was. And I looked at it, and I think it was like a -4 for me to get the exact team that he'd put in as a wildcard team. But I think for most teams, it's like -8, -12 probably would get you there. And I'm like, if you're considering it, watch that video, work out how many hits you would do, because it was great. It's fine, and just do it. And I think we all would do slight tweaks, like you'd Saka over or Odegaard over your Martinelli type things. It'll be tiny little things that you would change, maybe a Gabriel over a White or those ones. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm sure in the next 2 weeks there'll be swings. There'll definitely be swings within internal of the same teams. Is even last week. I think last week I went in with Odegaard and Martinelli, and then Xhaka crosses it to Nketiah, and I'm like, those type of things, will happen, but they might happen in the right way.
Last couple.
Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so there's a great question here though. I can't answer this one. Kane and Miggy out for Eddie and Bruno.
I saw it.
That's like,
Mark.
I don't want to look at that because I'll be tempted to do it. Although I need to lose an Arsenal player to do that, so that saves me. But yeah, if you don't have triple Arsenal already, I can see the temptation. But I don't see any reason to lose Kane though.
Yeah,
it's the strikers. They're so meh. Other than Haaland and Kane, and like you say, I've looked at myself, and then you find yourself, you just got loads and loads and loads of money. And you think, oh, well, what I could do is I'll start getting Trent in my team, and then you start thinking he probably won't even play.
FPL Jack asks, how quickly will Pedro Porro be in everyone's teams? Keen to hear from all three of you on this one, as Mark will be less biased.
As quickly as Perisic was in everyone's Gameweek 1 team, probably.
I think that's the thing. I mean, like, we were all creaming over Perisic. Now, granted, he's got about 10 years on him, Perisic, but still. I think we'll go there. Because it's fun.
It's fun.
Someone said that we had especially me, has Spurs blinkers on or something like that. I saw that comment earlier.
Oh, we have. I think that was about the not selling Kane.
Yeah, 24 Spurs blinkers. You're a strange breed. Well,
game week 24. I can see that some people will go James and some people will go Porro, and
we'll see what happens.
And maybe both, because I think there'll be people start to lose Shaw. I think people will lose Shaw. I think
we go back to that ticker, right? And it's blank Liverpool, Southampton, Brighton, or even Southampton blank.
Southampton blank, probably. I can see a lot of people come game week 24 think, well, maybe not game week 24, but 25, yeah. And the interesting one is Tottenham play Chelsea in 25. So it could go either way that way. But I can see, I don't think many people are going to lose Shaw before home to Leicester. Mind you, that what's that game week 24? Newcastle, Newcastle home to Liverpool. You still got to play Trippier, maybe not the double. Yeah. 25. We'll definitely see some wild Poros in 25.
Yeah. Mudryk tempted. I think we've mentioned about Chelsea generally speaking. I think although he did look kind of interesting.
Oh, he's interesting.
Yeah, you don't need to be the first manager there though.
No.
No.
We
didn't talk that much about 3-5-2 there, Mark, but so many midfielders. Do you just think everyone's going to end up 3-5-2?
Yeah, I know things can change very quickly, and when people like Nketiah are putting their hand up now, I always think formation doesn't matter too much, and I still think there's some very good 3-4-3s out there that I see. I went conscious decision, restart was loads of people have Andreas. Here's an opportunity, let him go and get an extra, more expensive midfielder. You know, a lot of people were talking the Arsenal fixtures were kind of tricky enough on paper to begin with, and most people went with a single Arsenal midfielder. I just seen that as an opportunity. Lose Andreas, get 2 Arsenal midfielders, which allowed me to get Saka. Because if I went for one, it probably would have been Martinelli because of price rather than Saka. So, yeah, 3-5-2. I just felt it was. I liked changing to 3-5-2 for the restart, and it served me well. But I'm always flexible. You know, like if I end up getting Nketiah this week, I'll happily go back to a 3-4-3. But it'll probably end up having a pretty good sub. Like Almiron might be on the bench for me for a week or two, and he might end up just staying as a first sub. I would be quite comfortable with that. But I really like Leon Bailey at 4.5, and if I can make a luxurious transfer to free up £1 million from Almiron, I probably would do it at some point.
Yeah, Leon Bailey. Back in the game.
I think we should leave it at that. Let's stop at Leon Bailey because that's a great place to end. That said, we do have to say that the Above Average FPL podcast and streams and channels, etc., is supported by Crypto Block Dan. He's a crypto games analyst, acquisition analyst for a play to earn crypto company, and supports us fantastically. So thank you to Dan. If you want to know anything about the blockchain, all of that good stuff, that's the wrong one. There we go. Head over to Twitter at CryptoBlockDan. Drop him a follow. Drop him a message. Ask him any questions you like. Yeah, and also we have Discord. So patreon.com/above average FPL to get involved there. There's a few of us over there now chatting all this good stuff about Gameweek 22. If you join before the 7th of February, then you get your first month refunded. So use that as an opportunity to try before you buy, or just try and then disappear. It's all good. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And of course, we have to say thank you to Mark for joining us this evening. Really, really great chat. Glad to have you come back on again. And we'll get you that hat-trick ball, I'm sure, at some point in the not too distant future.
My pleasure, and thanks for the content. Like I said, if I'm not busy recording my own pod on a Sunday night, it's always the first place I go for FPL content, or sometimes the podcast on a Monday morning if I'm on a dog walk and I haven't caught it Sunday. So thanks for the content, and yeah, it'd be nice to come back on towards the end of the season when we're all top 10k.
Smashing it.
Sounds good.
Smashing it. When you put in this week, Mark?
Haven't decided yet. It's probably going to be. I might hold off. It's probably going to be a Thursday release, I'd say.
Cool.
Nice one. Right. Well, thank you to everybody in the chat. Really enjoyed the engagement. There was over 380 of you in here today at one point. Please, on the way out, smash that like button. If you want to see more of it, hit subscribe. And we will see you again on Wednesday when we have got Hibbo coming to join us for a chat. And we need to talk about Bruno, I think.
We will do. Can we subtitles? Can we get subtitles? I don't know if you've heard Hibbo, but we'll need subtitles.
I don't know. I don't think I can type that fast and concentrate.
Yeah,
we'd have to
something.
We'd have to pay someone to do it or something.
Yeah, we'll work it. Go on Fiverr. We'll get it
sorted.
We'll upgrade him. See you Wednesday.
See you Wednesday. Thanks, Mark.
Cheers, lads.
Cheers.